Let's fix our lighting. Fix our chat. And I forgot that I had this book. I've had it for a hot minute, but I have not done... Get my coffee out of the way before I spill it on my page. I have not colored not one page in this book. And there's a lot of them, so I don't know how I missed this one. I just kind of forgot that I had it. But let's take a look through. And there's the cover, which is absolutely precious. See if we can decide on something. Thought I had the book upside down for a second there, but then I realized what it was. This is a maybe. Believe it or not, I am still fighting the cold. Someday it's gonna go away. But there are some fantastic pictures in this book. We just have to figure out which one we want to do. It's a lot of horizontal ones, which obviously I'm not going to do right at this moment. So we might get away with them, but... Oh, that's cute. Let's see. That is also really stinking cute. So, let's see. This is a well-named book. They are all absolutely adorable. And I think I might have landed on the one I want. But we will definitely be spending more time in this book now that I've remembered that it exists. So I was literally just kind of tearing through my different books trying to figure out what I was in the mood for. And I think this is what we're going to do. The little hedgehog in a basket. Hello, Kenny. How we doing today? I finally landed on a picture that I like. And we're going to have some fun with it. I cannot believe I managed to have an entire book that I hadn't touched sitting here. So I'm doing pretty good. Changing my mind on what I'm doing color-wise. I don't want them quite that dark. There we go. It has been quite the interesting weekend. So I have had a lot of craziness. It's nice to get to relax and just color and chit-chat with you guys. So this is one of quite a few books that I actually got from the Dollar General, of all places. I always check their books because every so often they come out with one that is just really adorable. And the nice thing is the price is very, very reasonable. So I am a fan of not paying an arm and a leg for things. Trying to kind of work around his little ear there. And I have decided we're going to kind of stay natural with his coloring because we can have so much fun with all of the coloring around him. So I debated which way I was going to go. If I was going to go darker with his fur or the spikes. I think we're going to go darker with the actual like furry parts and then come in and just add a little bit of lining in the spikes with the same brown. Just to give him a little bit more oomph. And then we'll start on the basket and the flowers and the leaves and all of that fun stuff. I am happy to have my voice almost completely back. It still gets a little wonky every so often, which if you weren't here last week, I spent pretty much all of last week sick. So I don't get sick often, but when I do a really thorough job of it. So it's just one of those things. It's the way things happen. I do have more kitten videos that will go up in the next, probably do one more today, and then I'll have have one for tomorrow to start out with. Not full copper, just a little bit of a darker without going full crazy dark. Taupe is not what we're looking for. I have so many different shades of brown, it's not even funny. But I think this will do. Doesn't need to be way darker, but just enough to give him a little bit of contrast. He looks like he's just snoozed out, which makes him that much cuter. Well, I seem to have a little bubble on the side of my pencil, which is giving a little bit more roughness than I would have liked there. Sometimes you can get away with this. Helped a little bit. Maybe not as much as I would have liked, but a little bit. And I could just make the whole thing a little bit darker, and that would make that go away, but I really don't want to do that. There we go. Hello, Rosario. How we doing today? And we are going to do this, but we're going to go back over that with a pink real quick. Just kind of gives a little bit of interest there. And this is something I don't know that we'll do everything single spike, but we're going to do at least some of them. Just gives it a little bit more depth, a little bit more tying those colors in a bit. And I am very intentionally just missing the lines, because if you just perfectly line the lines, then what is the point of doing it? You may get the fun of hearing my dog snoring. He is just on the other side of the kitchen, snoozed out. We are not falling for that again, YouTube, with your Q&A stickers. You tried to add a whole Q&A section last time I hit that. Thank you, thank you. Coloring is definitely one of my more enjoyable hobbies. And I think we're just going to go over just the front row like this, because I do want to get to some of the other details here. And we don't want to be at this all day. But I think just doing these fronts will at least tie the little bit of the darker brown in with the lighter and give him a little more depth and interest. There we go. Now, I think we're going to make the basket kind of a gold color, just because that kind of works and it doesn't overdo the brown. And it gives it that kind of sandy, light tan color without going overboard. And my gold pencil actually has just a hint of shimmer, which will add a little bit of character as well. Not that the picture really needs it. This is really stinking cute as it is. There we go. So I hope everybody had a great weekend. As I said, mine was a little bonkers, but that is mostly because I work weekends. And if you know anything about retail this time of year, there is no such thing as a peaceful day in retail this close to the holidays. I'm just going in and darkening it up just a little bit more. And I think we might actually just throw things, apparently. But I actually have a pretty taupe that we're going to just go over it with a little bit, just because it's very faint and a little too pale for my tastes. And we want it to exist where you can actually see that there is color. So we're just going to darken it up that little bit. And my birds are arguing a little bit. Is that the conures or the teals? And that was me talking to my partner. And now we can start having some fun. A lot of times I will do the simple stuff first, like the large blocks of, say, one color and things like that. And then start having some fun with other colors. Like these, we can just kind of pop a few different colors in, and it really still be reasonable. And I am a fan of that. There we go. I cannot believe I spent 15 minutes on just the hedgehog in the basket, but That's how that goes. Time flies when you're having fun. There we go. I'm a very big fan of this particular pink. I think that's yes, that is my bubblegum pink. I end up using this one quite a bit because it's just such a nice shade that it works for me. I think we are going to do a couple of these down here in that color as well. Because we can, right? It's kind of a why not sort of deal in my eyes. There we go. We got some pink. And just kind of reached in and grabbed the next color that I had handy. So I have something in mind for these guys up here, but actually this could work. I do want to use the purple because I do like the tone, and it kind of fits with the pink down here as well. Not as worried about using this one quite as much. As I said, that pink is one of my favorite tones to use. And I do like a good purple. But the next will be my actual favorite color, which is my blues. It'll still be a light blue because we seem to have started into the pastels, and it makes sense to kind of stick with what is working. Nice soft colors definitely are a good thing. I think we're actually going to bring this up here as well. I forgot there were flowers up top. And they look like tulips, or maybe wow, my brain just blanked on one of my favorite flowers. Petunias. Don't know why my brain just let go of that word completely for a minute there, but it happens. There we go. Now we're starting to get nice and colorful. I think that is a nice bright tone. Just needed a little sharpening. It was a little too dull for me there. And as far as favorite colors go, I love the whole blue spectrum. I am more particular to the darker blues, but light blues can definitely be a wonderful color to use. It's just a soft and pretty tone. There we go. I thought that might be a good fit for these. I really do think it works very, very well. And I do apologize. I know the coughing in your ear is not great, but because I do have an earpiece in, I can't get away from the microphone to do it. And as I said, I am still fighting with getting over being sick. That didn't go where I was supposed to. There we go. Excuse me again. And I think what we're going to do on these is just color a little bit harder for the centers. So it looks like a different color, but it's not. And that is one thing I do love with colored pencils, is how much you can change the color by changing the pressure or the angle that you use. You can make something very soft or very bright depending, or dark depending on the color. I may have to kind of speed this up a little bit because my throat is getting very angry with me, apparently. Or my chest, I should say. I think it might just have to deal, though, because it's been all weekend, and I really just want to sit and enjoy this process. Here we go. Now I just need another color for these down here. I do want to do, I still want to do a blue, but I want to do a different one for that. Because I can, and because, as I said, I love my blues. They just make me happy. There we go. And then I'm probably going to come in with an orange for these centers down here. And we'll be starting on all of the different greens we need to make all of the leaves work. And I think I might have to pull one more color in down here because there are a lot of flowers down here. Maybe we'll throw a few yellow because I do love me some yellow. There we go. I think yellow is exactly what it's missing. Now I just have to figure out the tone. See? Oops. Sorry guys, I'll just knock you out of the way there. Just a nice bright sunny yellow here. It's another color I am highly a fan of. It's not really a color I don't like. I guess I do like my bright and fun. And there is something about yellow that is really good at just bringing sunshine into a picture and livening it up completely. just a very cheerful color. There we go. Is that everybody? Looks like we have two buds over here, but they kind of go off the page, so we don't have to worry about them too much. And I think we have all of our buds colored in. And like I said, I wanted to pick an orange for these centers. It's another color that just brings a cheerful light to a lot of different things. It's a color that I absolutely love unless I have to wear it. Does not look good on me at all. But it is a fantastic color for adding life to things. All right, now for the fun part. Let's color some leaves. And I get to pull in my 3 dozen different shades of green here. And we're going to start with the first one I grabbed, which I think will do well for these little super pointy leaves down here. And kind of an olive tone. There we go. My voice is trying its hardest to go out on me, and we are not having that. We will make it through this whether I am whispering by the end of it or not. I have reached the point where it is absolutely 100% inconvenient for me to still be fighting this thing. And I am going to have to just out-stubborn the cold that won't go away. So it won't be the first time I've done that, and it probably won't be the last either, because I don't get sick much, and to me it's more of an inconvenience than anything else. And after a while, I just really get tired of it, and I will start out-stubborning it. Now I am going to do my stems a different color. That's why if you notice I've skipped over them. I have a lot of different tones. I haven't decided if we're going to do them completely different color or if we're just going to go a little harder with this pencil. I have a lot of these leaves to get taken care of first before I worry about that part. I think that might be the way to go, though, to kind of tie it into that same green family. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. I've almost got all of the leaves in this group done. Didn't really think about just how many of these there was going to be. There we go. Let's see what this looks like if I just... That's what we're going to do. May end up having to sharpen my pencil again, but we'll get there. There we go. Well, we got the first one out of the way here. Now, I think I'm going to need 2 different greens for the basket, since we have these little fern-like leaves, and then we have the big leaves that go with the flowers. And I think we're going to do the big leaves this color. This nice kind of bright, cheerful green. Since we went pastels with the flowers, it only makes sense to continue the pastels into the leaves, right? We have hit our 30-minute mark, which is my basic goal to at least do. There we go. I got another one of these guys back here. This is where it gets a little tricky because we have overlapping leaves. There we go. Oh, that one snuck up under his little arm there. I like how they actually folded this leaf. Like it got kind of smooshed underneath them a little bit. I am a big fan of little details that just make things all the cuter. There we go. And now for, well, that's really not going to work, is it? Let's try that again. I think we need to sharpen this guy, though. We'll sharpen the correct end, though. Sometimes you really just have to laugh at yourself when something isn't quite what you were planning on doing. It's just, can get upset about it, or you can laugh it off and say, okay, well, that was silly. Which, I mean, I am coloring live. How seriously do we want to take things when they go a little bit awry? I'm definitely not regretting my green choices on this one. I think those 2 shades actually work really well together. I think if I'd have gone both the same shade, it would have gotten very boring very quickly. And that is not something we want to do. I think I may have had a third type of leaf in there that I missed, but we're going to just assume it's a younger version of this kind of ferny looking guy here. There we go. And we are down to the last type of leaves and vines. And I need another green. I think we'll do this guy. He's a little bit darker, but he's a pretty shade. There we go. Sorry, I gotta bit quiet for a second there. I got a little bit focused on what I was doing. That does happen. I am very much human, and once I get really focused in on something, I have to remind myself sometimes to keep up the chatter, because I don't do a completely silent channel. So I really have thought about doing a mostly silent video here and there. I'm not 100% certain how I would go about it, so I haven't tried it yet. I have definitely watched a few creators who do the type of stuff kind of similar to the things I do, and they do it without talking at all. And the only thing I would run into is with some of the types of content I make, I would have to sit there and figure out how to edit in explanations of what I was doing and how it was being done. And I am not an editor. I am not very good at editing. I can do it when I need to, but it's definitely not one of my stronger skills. If you look back into my videos, you can kind of see where I have tried my hand at it a little bit, but I am not great at it. If I ever get to the point where I'm monetized and making enough to warrant it, I will probably hire an editor at some point. But right now, we are not getting paid. So spending a lot of crazy money for stuff like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There we go. And now to repeat it on the other side. So I may do another page from this book tomorrow, just because there are some really stinking cute pages in here. And it made me stop and think. And I also am going to be going through my coloring books, because if I could completely forget that I owned this one. I wonder if there's anybody else I'm forgetting about in there. So you might see more stuff, new stuff from me, instead of doing the same like 3 coloring books all the time. And that is the fun of something that a lot of ADHD people know the fun of, which is called object permanence. Out of sight, out of mind is a whole state of being. There we go. But now that I have remembered this book exists, we will definitely do more of it. There we go. But for now, I think I'm just neatening this particular leaf up just a little bit. And I think we are done. So I am going to go ahead and stop there. And I will be back tomorrow afternoon. And I will talk to you guys next time.